I have created a new model in ModelBuilder and I call it the clip buffer 4. The 4 is here the name for the iterator, for the 4 iterator that I want to use. This is the same model that we have just developed previously, using an input feature, clipping the input feature, then buffering it, and then overlaying it with our land cover by clipping it. Then we're adding a field, which is a floating point. The field is called area hectare. We add our hectares calculation to it, and then we add our layer symbology at the end of the day. So nothing has changed here. The only thing I'm adding now is to add the 4 iterator by going here to my iterators table and adding 4. And the 4 will create a loop that creates values. So the 4 iterator right now says go from a minimum value of 50 to a maximum value of 200 and iterate by 50. So it goes 50, 100, 150, 200, and it creates these values in a loop. So this model will run 4 times, actually it will run 5 times until it finds out that the value is larger than 200. So it runs and then it applies these values as my buffer distances, and now it runs. But before it runs 4 times, it creates 4 different output files. And therefore we have to add a value, so the percent value percent variable contains the value at the time. So the first time it loops, the value is 50, so we're creating a buffer 50. Then we are creating a clip buff 50, and then we're adding the information to the clip buff 50, and then we're adding the symbology to that. So you see here the percent value has been added everywhere in our output files, even here where we add the layer at the end and our output values. So here is where the collect values command comes in. This is a special command that is only available to the model builder. It's not available in Python because it's not needed in Python. So when we run this model, I will basically say create a display of our clipped values. So here add to display, and I also say add to display our output values, add them as well, our final values, and I want you to see the difference between those. So let's run this model. So let's look at the results. So here we have in various colors our original clipped buffer files. This one here that I had added to the display. So this does not have our new fields yet, and it does not have our symbology yet. You can see here's our 50 meter, our 100 meter, our 150 meter, and our 200 meter buffers. So as you can see here, when we added to the display the original layers, the clipped buffered layers, before we collected the values, then the layer names still contain the values. So they all have the same name, yet they have all different contents. That's why the collect values is important, because the collect value simply now adds the value into the value variable, and there we can see our individual proper named output layers. That's where the value of collect values comes in. We can add that at the very end, collect more than just one. For instance, we could make a connection and also add this as a second input value. So we can collect basically everything we wanted if that's what we would desire. In our case, we only want the final layer, and therefore we just choose to have one collected value. So that's how you use the for command. So the for command should have the collect values tool going hand in hand. If we go and we find out from the online help ArcGIS Pro about collect values, here is a very important part. What we have just done is, if you are using an iterator in the model and want to add the outputs of all the iterations to display in the map with the actual unique output name instead of the name of the variable, then connect the output to be displayed to the connect value tool. That's what we have done in our model. That's all for today. Until next time.